with all of this. So I've got this little node right here, which are just some particles that I've put out for you from NukeX. Unless you're working in NukeX, you wouldn't really be able to use the particle functionality of Nuke. So I've just gone ahead and kind of set that up. You can watch our introduction to particles in Nuke course if you want to learn more about making particles yourself. But for now, we'll just plug this in kind of as a pass. Just to really start making this look more beautiful. So let's go ahead and add another merge node. So I'll just hit the tab key and type in merge. We'll drop that on between our last merge node and our viewer, and then just hook those together, holding control also to get a dot node. Okay, so let's see if we can see any particles. So I can see a few. They're very, very tiny, and that's what we want. We don't want it to look like there's a snowstorm going on here. We just want a little bit of movement of those little pieces that kind of look like dust, so you can kind of see those moving through there. In addition to that, those particles, I'd also like to add just kind of a little bug or something like that that'll kind of swoop down through here, feel like it's close to the camera, and just really start to give it just this feeling that this is live footage and bugs are in this environment, things like that fly by. So what we can do is add a roto node. So I'll just go ahead and drop a roto in just like that. And I do want to go ahead and merge this in, so I'll just hit the tab key and we'll merge it in just because I like that workflow a little bit better. And then let's go ahead, and I'm just going to kind of try to start right here in the middle. I'm just going to create a little tiny ellipse just like that, and it's going to default to being black, which is perfect. That's exactly what I want, and you can kind of see what that looks like there. Great. And I'm just going to clear my properties bin. And I'm going to add a transform node to kind of zip this on through here. So I'll hit the tab key and type in transform, and we'll just place that between the roto and the merge. I got pretty close to the middle there. Let's start just a little bit past that first frame, and I'm going to pull this over here to the side just like that, and we'll go ahead and key our translation by right clicking and setting keys. And then I'm going to go to about frame 100, and we'll come in and kind of pull that down like this. And then between frame 6 and frame 100, that's going to put us at frame 47. So right there, kind of in the middle of that, I want to pull that up so we kind of get that little arch in it instead of having just a totally straight line. So let's go ahead and just kind of click through here, and you can see if you're looking closely that little bug is just flying through. Now if I played this back, it's going to look kind of stuttery. So what I want to do is turn up our motion blur. So by turning that up, we can kind of start to see a little bit of blurring as he's moving along here. Now we'll also want to turn up our shutter a little bit just to really start to make that blur more apparent. You can kind of see what that does for us. Okay, so that just is going to make it look more realistic, just like it's a little speck that's kind of blurring through here. And if we want to, we could go ahead and watch this back. I'm just going to do it kind of at a smaller size, just like this. So I'm going to hit play. Let's watch it and kind of take a look at the particles, the bug, and then we'll also add some fog here in just a second. So I'm going to pause while we kind of cache this out, and we'll come back and evaluate it in just a moment. Okay, so this is playing back for us, and you can kind of see our little bug as it goes through there. I do think, however, that this might be a little slow. I think I would like it to go by just a little bit faster. If it was going by this slow, it almost looks like a bird because it looks like it's farther away, and that just doesn't really make sense for really the shape that we've got without any kind of flapping or anything like that. The particles and their speed, I think, look really good. They're just very subtle. Again. So let's just go ahead and we will grab that bug and make him go a little faster. So in our transform, we've got those 3 keyframes. I'm going to run over here to the dope sheet, just click that, and let's just make this kind of last over about this many frames instead. So just kind of coming back, that's about frame 70. So I'll just pull those keys just back like that, and then we'll grab these and kind of just pull those over there into the middle, and then that way we can watch the playback just like that. So we'll evaluate this again after we add our fog. Let's go ahead and do that so we don't spend too much time waiting just for that to render and that type of thing. So let's go ahead and start adding that fog in like I was talking about. Now this is going to be one of those elements that we can add into our scene, thankfully. So we don't have to worry about, you know, where are we going to merge this in. This is going to be an easy one. So we have a little bit of room right here. That's a perfect spot for it. So I'm just going to hit the tab key and type in noise. And noise is a great node for being able to create this type of thing. I'm also going to use a card to place it on. So we'll hit the tab key and just go ahead and add a card for that. And then let's plug it into our scene. Perfect. So you can kind of see what that looks like. It's going to start out being way, way, way too foggy. So let's kind of click through here, and you can see that definitely is more fog than we need. If we go into our 3D scene, also, this is really not in the correct placement. So let's go ahead and push it back. I want it to be kind of between all of these elements here, but still in front of our background. So let's jump back over to our 2D, and it looks like we need to kind of move that down a little bit. We might even need to increase the size of our card possibly. So if we're on frame 200, it looks like it's full, and if we're on frame 0, again, perfect. Looks nice and full. So I really like actually the pattern we're getting with this fog, so I don't really feel the need to go in and start changing that in the noise too much, just besides the fact that the opacity is too high. So let's turn down our opacity a little bit, just like that. Okay, and then we also are going to want to animate this Z. So animating the Z is what's going to make it feel like the fog is moving. So if we just start at 0, on 0, I can right click and set a key. And then if we go up here to frame 200, let's turn this up to, let's just see what it looks like at a 2 after about this long. So again, let's go ahead and cache those frames and see if it's moving too quickly. We don't want the fog to feel like it's boiling. We just want a subtle, slow kind of movement. And actually, before we get too much further in caching those frames out, I'm going to turn the opacity down just a little bit further because I really don't want it to be overwhelming or make this feel like the atmosphere is heavily distorted. In fact, I think we could even add a roto node to take some of the fog away from the top, so it just feels like there's more fog down here at the bottom. So let's really quickly go in and add that roto node to the fog. So I'll just drop that between the noise and the card. We'll go ahead and view that roto, and we can just really quickly kind of add a little mask through here. So this is kind of the area we're wanting to keep. Make sure we've got Bezier turned on, just kind of right through there. And then I'm going to really start to feather that so we get a really nice, easy little gradient there. Okay, let's go ahead and jump back over to our 3D. And remember, we'll want a Premult node. So hit the Tab key and type in Premult. We'll add that in there. So you can see instantly when we added the Premult, we got a lot less fog here at the top. So if we view our Premult node, you can see now what that looks like. We still have a little bit much, so I'm going to pull that down even further. Just kind of right in here. So really trying to limit the amount of fog that we're getting there at the top. Okay, so let's take a look then at our 3D. That's looking better. Let's jump back to our 2D view and go all the way down to the bottom. Great. So you can see how that part up there looks much thinner and this part feels a lot foggier. So we'll go ahead now and play this back. I'll pause it and we'll come back and watch this in just a moment. Okay, our render is finishing up and we can watch this through now. Our fog does actually appear to be going a little bit fast. It's just right on the edge of being distracting. So I'm going to cut that just about in half as far as how much movement we're getting there. So you can see that's kind of traveling through to about that 2 limit. So let's just take that down to a 1 by the time it gets to frame 200. But before we change that and lose our cache, that everything else as far as the bug, I think that's a great speed for the bug, and the particles are the same. We're not really changing that. So I think that this is a great spot to kind of leave that fog at, and it's automatically just going to overwrite that last frame. Let's come back in the next lesson and learn a little bit about adding in some God rays and a flare to really start